Welcome to Tell Me a Story Season 2. My name's Adina Samuels, and I'm inviting anyone and everyone to share their stories with me. Let's see what we get. Today, I sat down with Tofunmi, a good friend of mine who unfortunately encountered a racist incident in Etobicoke. He shares what happened, what it felt like, and what he learned from it. Tofunmi, welcome to Tell Me a Story. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you on the other side of the screen. It's been a
I
while since we
know,
last chatted.
I know. From colleagues to guest and interviewee or interviewer. Yeah, pretty cool.
Exactly. Tell me, introduce yourself to our audience for those who don't know you.
Yeah, I am Tofunmi Adibshe, multidisciplinary artist, photographer, filmmaker, and also ex-financial planner. Um, I hail from Nigeria. And overall, um, an individual that looks positively at Nigeria and sees the value that we can create. So I'm just looking forward to creating a new world and improving the economy of Nigeria as a whole. So that's a long-term vision, but I don't know how that fits into who I am.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
You've got a purpose.
yeah.
The first time before we even met, so we worked together, and when you got hired, our team kind of got sent to your LinkedIn profile or something. They said, look up your new colleagues. Da, 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 da.
Mhm.
I looked you up. I find your website. I'm like, oh, this guy is serious. Gorgeous photography. Like he knows what he's doing. And I knew from the beginning that we would be friends for sure. Just saying.
Hey, yes.
Yeah, work besties. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Tafumi, as you know, you come on to tell me a story with a story. Please tell
Mhm.
me your story.
Um, yeah. So I would, if I'm saying my story, um, sometimes like this story in particular, I do get emotional. So please bear with me if I do. Um, but going back to June 2025, so a few months ago, I it was my girlfriend's birthday. I booked a facial for her. And I took her to the facial in Etobicoke. And once we finished the facial, or I stayed around the area while she was getting it done, it was an hour. And then as I came back to pick her, there was a spot, the green pea parking spots on the side of the road. There were two spots there. I just stopped in the last spot so I don't get blocked in by another car. This huge ram looking truck came behind me and started like blaring its horn, telling me to move. And I was like, oh no, just I put my window down, did one of these, like, just move forward, go around me kind of thing. I'm just waiting and put on my hazard lights. And he stayed for like a minute or two. Next thing you know, he goes in front of me, like comes into the spot right in front and like comes really close to the car, stops, comes down and comes to my window and then says, "You fucking N-word." And then, um, and he said it with a very hard R, and then walks away, and is crossing the street. And I'm like,
What?
"Whoa, what just happened?" I then like immediately come down from the car. I'm heated. I'm like, "Yo, what the heck?" And then, I go chasing after him on the road. Now it's a 2-lane road, like traffic is coming and going. At the time that happened, my girlfriend was crossing the street to come meet me. And then she sees me come down from my car, um, going after the guy. And in the process of her running after me, she almost gets hit by a car. Um, I didn't even notice this. She, like, everything is fine. I thank God, she wasn't hit. And I go after the guy.
Wait,
And
wait, wait. Tafumi, first of all, I hate that this happened in
yeah,
Toronto, in
yeah.
Etobicoke.
In
Um,
2025, yeah.
yeah. Why? What made you go after him?
I think it was just Like the way he looked, he he just looked very, I don't know. I honestly I don't know. I I thought about that after, and that's where like the lesson of patience came into play because I was like, I really should develop a better habit because I will face tough people like this in the workplace, in personal life. So I need to make sure that, not everything gets to me. In that moment, I was super happy again. I was doing this for a birthday. So I wasn't expecting that. So I just flared up and, um, just went after him, not to like beat him or fight him, but just to like question him. So I was like, why did you say that? And
Did you
like,
catch up to him?
I did. Yeah, yeah. And then he's
Mm.
just walking. He's not looking back. He's a big, storky white guy, tattoos all over head to toe. And he was not looking at me. Then he turned around, just gave me, oh, pardon me, turned around, gave me the middle finger and just continued walking. And then I cross the street. I look at his car. His daughter is in his car. This girl is not more than 13 and she's just laughing at this whole thing. And I'm like, how does how does one raise children in this sort of environment? And then I'm standing literally by his car. If I was a crazy person, I could have attacked the daughter in the car and he left her all alone. I went to the store for like 5 minutes and I'm there and I'm standing by the car. My girlfriend's trying to calm me down. And then he comes out and then he says you can't do any effing thing. And then gets in his car and then smiles and drives off. And I'm shaking at this point because I was just like, what just happened? In that moment, she then told me she almost got hit by a car. There's bystanders on the road looking, and it's just a whole thing. And I was just like, yeah, that was like,
So
yeah.
your girlfriend didn't see the interaction. She just saw you kind of walking down the
She
street.
saw the interaction
Oh,
because
she
the
did.
car where I parked was right. The crossing lane was right here. I parked right in front of it, so she was already about to cross the road, waiting for the green light when that happened. So she saw it. She heard him say it. A
Uh,
bunch of people on the road heard him say it, and then everyone just stood and just watch as I start shouting and like raising my voice, going after him, like, why? Like, you're so, and I'm cursing him out and everything. That was the quietest car ride back home because, she got emotional, I got emotional. Um, and these sort of things shouldn't affect me. Being Nigerian, I come from a culture where, we're all like very prideful. We're all like together. We love everyone. So having that experience, is jarring for me. I'm not used to it. Um, yeah.
have racist incidents like this happened to you before in the city?
In the city, not as much. But you see it more in it's not as blatant. You see it more in, the way they interact with you. Or I was at a tennis court the other day and I came onto the court and this lady comes up to me. She was like, you weren't here first. Someone else was here before you. I was like, oh, the lady came up to me and someone else came up to me and asked me if I was playing. And I said, yeah, I'm just about to play. She didn't know, she didn't let me know that she was there before me. So I wouldn't have guessed that. She didn't ask me that.
Hmm.
Um, so when I found out that was the case, I left the court immediately. But then she was like, um, saying to me that, you should know better. And I was just like, well, what do you mean by that? So it's just underlying things that they say, but nothing as blatant as that. But elsewhere in Europe, I've experienced that multiple times.
It's kind of interesting that your reaction was to it's kind of like a survival instinct, right? Fight or flight or freeze. And your reaction was kind of to, I mean, it wasn't to fight. You weren't going to touch him, but you
Yeah.
did want to confront him. I
Yeah.
think that's really brave, actually. I think a lot of people would have just, I mean, I think I would have totally just frozen and shut down completely.
Yeah. I think so too, but I think there is a level of, especially like in Trump's America, if you think of it in that way, there's a lot of like differences in regards to values, way people think. You don't know. Maybe he had a gun. Maybe he had something. Like you really have to be careful. So that was a lesson for me that yeah, even though nothing happened to me, something could have, and I wouldn't know how to like I don't know how to explain it, but like I'm very happy nothing happened. Further than that, if we go into a fight, you know, it's then this white guy versus this black guy. Who are they going to listen to? So it becomes a whole thing, and unless the bystanders stay and they, you know, they give the
Did anybody
backstory.
say anything to you? All these people who saw it happen?
There was a guy and a lady. They were like, "That's terrible. She shouldn't have done that." That was all they said, and they walked away. But you know, it was also reassuring to hear that, to know that I'm not, you know, I'm not at fault, or I'm not crazy.
And it's so upsetting because you were just trying to have, like, a beautiful day with your girlfriend for her birthday.
Yeah,
Why does it have to be like that?
yeah. Trust me, it was. Yeah,
Tafumi, you said that patience was the lesson that you learned. Can you explain that? Why patience?
yeah. So I think I ruined the day because I didn't have patience. I ruined the day in the sense of like all our other plans after were impacted by this feeling, you know, this decision. She wasn't as happy through the rest of the day. I wasn't in the best mood to like show my best self. And if I had just exercised the patience um, that, you know, he says his words, and you know, I don't get moved by it. You know, I'm just calm. I try, even if I shut down internally. I'm not like exuding any hatred or any insults. I don't know, if I kept my composure, then you know, and maybe I would have controlled it a little bit differently. Now she does like my girlfriend does say that like she's happy I said something, but maybe the way I said it should have been different. I think if I had more patience, I would have been able to reward my anger, or rechannel my anger in a way that, you know, I get my point across without too much confrontation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're being really hard on yourself. I think a terrible thing happened to you and
Mm,
you responded in the heat of the moment, but, um, yeah, I don't want you to feel like you ruined the day, and I'm sure your girlfriend didn't feel like this either, is this incident impacted
mhm.
both of you, and it's so human to react the way that you did.
Yeah.
And thank God, you know, nothing escalated, nothing happened, but your feelings and your actions are all totally valid. And in fact, I think it would be kind of odd to be able to just switch it off and say, you know, let's just move on with our day. This is a big thing.
I think, but that's unfortunately the reality we face. Because once I told my parents this, my dad was upset with me. That, you know, why did I react? The next day, I'm getting Denzel Washington quotes from him. You know, all these interviews talking about being a father, or being the. It says, I think in one quote he mentioned the man that does not react is the most powerful man, or something like that. Um, so like being able to not react in the heat of the moment, can show how dangerous you are, because you don't know what the person is planning. You don't know what, you know, who they are and what they can do. So it's just he sent me a bunch of stuff like that, and it's just, you know, he being a bank CEO and stuff like that, he's learned to deal with all this kind of tough people. And you will see all those kind of people in the workplace, whether you like it or not. So having that patience, um, um, with the aspiration of being a leader is very imperative, regardless of what bad thing happens. So I think that was why I say that is my lesson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a tough one to learn,
Yeah,
I
it
think.
is. It
I
is.
always see my dad as like someone who just doesn't react to much. And sometimes I just want to shake him like,
Yeah,
what do you feel?
yeah,
You know? But it's true
yeah.
because I think like what he's known for in the community is like a respected leader, right? So it's a trade-off,
It
I think.
is. It is. And I
Um,
think that's what I want at the end of the day. So if, all these experiences lead me towards that, it's sad, but I will take it on, you know.
Tell me, Tafumi, why did you share this story with me today?
I think it just felt it was the first thing when you sent me the invite as to tell me a story. It was the first thing that came to mind, and the first thing that I felt, really moved the needle for me, but also like got me really emotional. And I think like if if I'm telling a story that doesn't have emotion, it will come through clearly. So this is the story that I felt just resonated the most
Yeah.
to me, and I feel like people need to hear it, need to know that you can go through challenges and you can still come out on the other side by not reacting, and you're not weak for reacting, and you're not weak for not reacting. So
I suppose if anyone watching, let's say, finds themselves like a bystander to that kind of situation, what would you want them to know or say in that moment?
I see you, I hear you. I recorded the license plates. That would be one. I would also, I think just making the person, the victim or the person who went through this, feel seen and feel confirmed that what they went through is not right, I think makes all the difference. I just don't believe you should stay silent. And another story or lesson I want people to learn from that is your kids are going to learn from whatever you do. So in that situation, I would not be surprised if his daughter grows up to be just like that. Fact that she's laughing, she's recording on herself. I literally could have gone to a car, dragged her out. If I was like, it just didn't make sense why he would leave his daughter after doing that, knowing like the how heated he was. Um, yeah. And I would just like, I think the bystanders, just making them feel seen and heard is the main thing I want them to do.
Well, Tofumi, I just want to emphasize that when I think about you, I think about someone who like walks into a room and just lights it up. Like you shake everybody's hand, you know everybody's name, you make everybody feel seen. And I never want anyone or anything to ever make you feel like you can't be all of who you are because you're like a real light to people.
Hey,
And
that's amazing.
and these people who I don't even like, I don't know, insane, unwell, all of these kind of people that you will encounter in your life. I think it's true. We just have to pay them no mind because they're really they just don't mean anything
Yeah,
in your life. And we can't ever let them stop you from being you because you're too valuable.
yeah. It's um, it's definitely, it's definitely, it's great to hear that. Sorry if I'm, um, yeah, it's great to hear that. Thank you for saying that. I don't think I've shared this story with anyone except my family. And yeah, just all the emotions just came rushing back. Yeah,
Thank you for
thank you.
sharing it with me, Tafumi, and I wish it never happened. But hopefully, by telling this story, we'll be arming more people with kindness and care and sensitivity and awareness. And this is how we do it.
That's all I hope for.
Thank
That
you
is
for
all I
joining
hope
me,
for.
Tofunmi. I really
you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. This is amazing. Tell Me a Story podcast. I have checked out a few of the episodes. I wish you all the success in the world. Adina, that I met in Lumikyu, you've grown so much. You know, you're also a light in every room you walk in, and your ability to put thoughts into words is unparalleled. So shout out to you, and I can't wait to continue to see your success.
Thanks, Tofunmi. Ditto.
Hey.
And that wraps up another episode of Tell Me a Story Season 2. Thanks for listening. If you like this episode or think you might have a story worth sharing, reach out. I'd love to hear from you.